It's no secret that in 2023, I was released from WWE. And then I really just gave myself kind of a year off to explore other options, to work on my jewelry business, to kind of do things that I really loved and wanted to do. And so whenever this opportunity presented itself to come back to TNA, it just made so much sense for me.
What's going on, guys? Jon Alba from the Takedown on SI, and we got some breaking TNA news. You might see the lovely lady sitting there beside me right now. That's McKenzie Mitchell, and she has signed a new deal to be the full-time ring announcer for TNA Wrestling. Congratulations, McKenzie. First off, how did all this come together? Where did this start? Because this is somewhat of a homecoming for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so excited to be back at TNA. Homecoming, exactly. You nailed it. I started my career in TNA in 2016 through 2019. Moved my career over to WWE. And so for me to be able to be back in TNA and do a different role this time, I was the backstage correspondent at TNA when I started my career. And now doing ring announcing is a little bit of a different skill for me, but also so much fun. So I'm very excited to be back.
What has the environment been like so far in TNA? Because there's been so much change within the company. It's still rapidly changing. It seems like almost on a monthly basis for you to come back in the fold there at Genesis.
Totally. Fantastic. You know, like there's some familiar faces that are still there, the Gail Kims of the world, the Josh Matthews, different people that I had worked with previously. And so I still got to kind of reconnect with those people, which was fantastic. And it was to go back to TNA at Genesis. It was a really great show, first of all. Also, you know, just a warm welcome for me. And, you know, it's full capacity at TNA. So I loved being back. I'm excited for the future of TNA and what's all to come.
What'd you learn during your first run with TNA? You know, you're really trying to get your teeth wet. You're scratching your clawing for an opportunity. What did you come away with from that experience that allowed you to leverage that into success with WWE?
Excuse me. I'm just kind of getting over a sickness.
I'm with you.
This has been rampant. It's been crazy. Yeah, I learned so much. Honestly, TNA gave me the foundation and the platform to succeed in professional wrestling. Just out of college, when I had graduated with a broadcast degree from Ole Miss, starting my career in TNA in 2016, I learned really the foundation of professional wrestling to be able to catapult me into WWE. I'm very thankful. I've talked about this, I think, quite a bit of how thankful I am that I started my career in TNA to be able to build, to have those stepping stones, to be able to, you know, try things and kind of get my personality in TNA before I reached over to WWE. So I think it really just created that foundation that allowed me to grow my wings and to be able to soar in this world of professional wrestling.
What do you find appealing about what TNA is doing right now? There's a lot of change going on with the company, as I alluded to before. The partnership with WWE, we're seeing new opportunities for some of these wrestlers. What is appealing for you about getting an opportunity to lend your voice to that?
Yeah, I think it's really a dream come true for me to be able to start my career in TNA, as I've mentioned, to go to WWE, to come back to TNA. It's really just the perfect partnership, the perfect timing, very coincidental for me. It's no secret that in 2023, I was released from WWE. And then I really just gave myself kind of a year off to explore other options, to work on my jewelry business, to kind of do things that I really loved and wanted to do. And so whenever this opportunity presented itself to come back to TNA, it just made so much sense for me. And it's ironic because people, you know, it's no secret that my husband works at WWE still as the NXT play-by-play. And so in a kind of weird way, we're working together again. And that's really special in itself to be able to connect with my husband in different ways. And it's just really special. I'm so excited, like I said, to see the future of TNA and to see where this can go. It opens so many doors for TNA talent, for WWE talent, for NXT talent to get to have those dream matches, if you will, and to cross over for these promotions to be able to go, okay, cool. Like we would have never thought we would have seen Wesley versus Moose or whomever it is. And now we're getting to see those dream matches, if you will, come to life.
I'd love to talk a little bit about that personal journey with you just for a second because I relate to you so much. And I've been in broadcast media for the last decade, and they say in media you don't truly make it until you've been laid off a couple times.
Yeah,
And I
I've
have
seen
felt
it.
that intimately. You have felt that. How do you go about combating those hurdles and turning them into learning experiences?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. My release came at a very unexpected time. It was very we didn't know it was happening. It was a surprise to everybody, my family, my friends, I think peers. But it helps you grow. It helps you learn and to kind of go, what's next? And let's pivot to do things that really make you fulfilled and make you happy and really just have you just stop for a second and you're like, what is it that I want to do? What is it that, sometimes these things happen, doors close for a reason. And for me, it really it was a surprise when I got released from WWE, but now it's allowed me to just grow in who I am. And as I mentioned, I have a jewelry business. I'm writing a book. There's so many things that I would have probably never pushed myself to do if I didn't get shoved in that direction. So I think it really just helps me personally grow and take another step in who I am as a human, not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well.
Sure, and it really is funny how you never know what doors are going to open as a result of something that seemingly on the surface is really upsetting or rough or difficult, and then a door that you never would expect to open suddenly becomes viable, and you have an opportunity that you
Yeah,
didn't expect to have. And right now, you're back here in TNA. You're doing the ring announcing. Let's talk a little bit about the making of the sausage with that if we can.
sure.
Like
Yeah,
that is such a different ideology and mentality to have from doing backstage interviewing or doing hosting. It's a totally different way of utilizing your body and your voice. What kind of challenges have you tackled with that transition, and how are you going about adapting to that?
you nailed it. It's such a different skill to tap into as a backstage interviewer, backstage correspondent. That's really been my bread and butter for 8 years, 9 years in professional wrestling. So it's a different tone, it's a different conversation because as a backstage correspondent, you're conversational. You're developing that rapport with talent, with an audience, and connecting on a different level to people backstage. Of when you're on screen, you want to feel like everybody's friend, but then when you are a ring announcer, you're technically projecting your voice in a completely different way. And so I've really honed in on that skill lately. Obviously, being the ring announcer, a lot of people don't know that I was doing the WWE live loops really. So I was doing some ring announcing and finding my footing there before I got released in 2023. So that kind of allowed me to really get my feet on the ground and have to start to kind of develop my voice as a ring announcer. But since going back to TNA, before I debuted at Genesis, I had taken some vocal lessons and was really working on that skill because it just takes some time. It takes really that experience and that time and that strength. My vocal coach has said time and time again, being a being a ring announcer and being able to project and a commentator, if you will, it's an athletic thing.
Yeah.
So you're able to, you're having to kind of tap into that athletic skill, if you will, whenever you're announcing as well, because you're pulling from your stomach, your chest, your throat. You're using everything inside of you to project and get those crucial magical moments for the talent.
As we both sit here after the flu ravaged
I
our
know, right?
vocal cords.
I know.
And but that's something too that you can't just like take a day off from that. If there's a big show, you have
Yeah,
to find a way to make yourself available for that and to be able to be
sure.
present in the moment. So what have some of the challenges been in embracing that new role?
Yeah, it's really just, again, finding my voice, just
Yeah.
finding who I am in the ring, because often I feel like commentators, announcers, backstage correspondents get compared to each other. It's like, oh, well, you don't sound like Alicia Taylor. You don't sound like Mike Rome. You don't sound like Samantha Irvin. You don't sound like these people, but that's okay. That's what makes us individuals. That's what makes us, you know, our own human. When you're in the ring, when you're a backstage correspondent, when you're a commentator, that's the beauty of being able to try it out, try things, see what works, see what
Sure.
doesn't work, see what your range is, because I can't go as low as Alicia Taylor would be. She's got this gravelly voice, which is so fantastic, and that works for her. But for me, I have a higher range. So it's like, it's just trying things and seeing what works for your vocal range, but also just taking care of yourself on the road. As you've mentioned, we've talked about, like, I'm getting over the sickness. So it's, how do you prepare, and how do you really get the amount of sleep that you need to, drink the teas that you need to. You're working on your breathing techniques, your breathing methods. There's so much that goes into it that I don't even think people realize.
Is there anyone you've looked up to for inspiration or pulled inspiration from as you've tried to craft this talent?
Honestly, there are a few people. So I've listened to anybody from Christy Hemme, to Samantha Irvin, to Lillian Garcia, just to kind of find myself, because Christy Hemme is she's got a little bit of a higher vocal range. Samantha's a natural singer. Alicia Taylor, as I've mentioned, she's got a lower vocal range. So it's just really finding McKenzie's voice to make me stand out. And that's going to develop over time and with experience and with knowledge as I go along in this new journey, I should say.
So in your opinion, what does the role of the ring announcer play in helping tell this greater story with
Yeah.
these wrestlers in these matches?
There's so much more, as I've mentioned, to being a ring announcer than just saying words, because you're the host of the evening. So you're really starting the evening with a tone. So when you come out for the first time and you're talking to an audience, like, it's your voice that's getting everybody excited and keeping them excited throughout the entirety of the show. So I think that there's so much to be said for the connectivity of talking to the audience and keeping them engaged, and then really bringing those big, loud moments for a championship match. Joe Hendry getting to win the TNA World Championship, like that, my voice will live behind that forever. And so those are the things that, as announcers, I mean, you understand, you look for those moments, because it's those cool pieces of history in professional wrestling that I'm lucky enough now to be able to get to be a part of.
Do you collaborate with talent when it comes to putting their ring announcing together?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that that's important. Some people can get crazy with it. Some people can be like, hey, can you say all these things? There's only so much that I can really put in, and so much that I can give. But absolutely, I always like to work with talent and be like, what do you want me to say? How do you want me to project this? Where do you want me to get the loudest? Or, just to work with them and be able to figure out what that looks like.
Well, I think it's amazing that you've got this opportunity, and it's great to see you back in a more focal, full-time role here in pro
Yeah.
wrestling. What are you hoping to get away from this experience as being TNA's new full-time ring announcer here?
Really just add another tab to my resume, if you will, because I've been in professional wrestling for nearly 10 years now, which is so wild. Like, first of all, where did the time go? And second of all, it's another skill, as I've mentioned, that I'm tapping into, from backstage correspondent to now really just embracing this new role as a ring announcer. I'm so excited to get to try my hand with some things and again, make it my own. We all have these different sounds, these different perceptions of what these ring announcers should look like and should feel like. And so I'm really excited to be the full-time ring announcer for TNA and just make it my own, and grow within this role for sure.
Well, you got a great attitude about it. I have no doubt that you're going to be super successful doing this. Congratulations
Thank you
on
so
signing the
much.
new contract. Is there anything else you'd like to add here?
No, I'm just really excited for the future. We've touched on it a little bit, but with this new partnership with WWE and TNA, the sky's the limit. I think that there's so much that's to unfold that we're really excited for that. And to see where Joe Hendry can take the TNA World Championship and to see the Knockouts division continue to grow. It's just so amazing. And for me, really special to be back in TNA for the second time. It's for sure a homecoming.
She is McKenzie Mitchell. She is the new ring announcer for TNA Wrestling. Thanks so much for hopping on the Takedown on
Thank you
SI.
so much.